Before we begin, keep in mind that this list is made based off of several factors, including my own opinion. If there's anything I may have left out or things that may not be in the order you wished, let me know in the comments below. We've all seen movies and read stories where possessions, primarily those of the demonic nature, play a key role in the plot or narrative. Today, however, we will be looking into real-life cases and situations involving such possessions. So sit back, don't let the devil in, and enjoy the top 5 demonic possessions. Now, starting us off at number 5, a more relatively recent one in which Pope Francis exorcised a demon from within a boy. A main reason as to why this one was chosen was due to how recent the event actually occurred and the fact that it involved a very high-standing person within the Catholic Church. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Catholic Church performs thousands of exorcisms per year, and Pope Francis has said that he believes that Satan is an actual real thing, and that the battle against evil is one that he must deal with every single day. In May of 2013, the newly elected Pope allegedly performed a brief exorcism live. As he was moving through a line of disabled people offering blessings, he paused before a boy in a wheelchair. He grasped the boy on the head, and soon the kid began to shudder and gasp before going limp. I'm going to run it or throw up the photo for you guys to see for yourself and to see what you guys may think of the situation. At number 4, we have Michael Taylor. Michael Taylor and his wife Christine lived in a small town in Great Britain called Ossett, and I probably butchered that. The couple was very religious and had joined a Christian prayer group that was led by Mary Robinson. In one meeting in 1974, Christian Taylor accused her husband and Robinson of having an affair, which both people clearly denied. Michael then began showing a different form of personality and started acting extremely erratic and without character, leading witnesses to think that he seemed possessed by evil. After months of crazy behavior, Taylor eventually consulted with a clergy who performed an exorcism. The exorcism lasted for over 24 hours, and the priests that were involved claimed to have removed 40 different demons from within the man's body. However, before he left, the priest did warn him that the demon of murder remained dormant in his soul. As soon as Taylor arrived home, he brutally murdered his wife and their dog. He was later found wandering the streets covered in blood, and at his trial he was acquitted by reason of insanity. Number 3 is Julia, and the reason why she's placed up here on this list is not due to her having a much larger scale possession or that a larger type of religious leader was doing the exorcism themselves, but the fact that her exorcism and possession actually were both confirmed in a way and actually believed by people within the scientific community. Now, in 2008, Dr. Richard E. Gallagher, a board-certified psychiatric and assistant professor of clinical psychiatry at New York Medical College, documented a case of a patient nicknamed Julia, whom he deduced was indeed possessed by demons. Again, it's really rare that a scientist, let alone a psychiatrist, would actually admit this type of stuff. Typically, doctors usually think of possessions as a result of mental illness. However, Dr. Gallagher personally observed items flying around the room, Julia levitating off the bed, speaking in tongues, and knowing things about people around her that she could not have possibly known. Here is an excerpt from Gallagher's statement. Quote, periodically in our presence, Julia would go into a trance state of a reoccurring nature. Mentally troubled individuals often dislocate themselves, but Julia's trance was accompanied by an unusual phenomena. Out of her mouth would come various threats and taunts within different languages. Phrases like, leave her alone, you idiots, she's ours. Leave, you imbecile priests. Or just leave. The tone of this voice was different than Julia's own, as it varied, sometimes sounding gritty and masculine, and at other points high and pitched. Most of her comments during these trances, or at the subsequent exorcisms, displayed a marked contempt for anything religious or sacred. End quote. Number 2. Ronald O, or Ronnie Manham. Many of you guys may know this as being the real story behind the novel and Hollywood movie The Exorcist. The tale of a 14-year-old Ronald O is one of the most notorious stories of demonic possession. So much so that Ronald O is not actually his real name. It is actually an alias assigned to him by the Catholic Church in order to preserve the boy's privacy. In the late 1940s, Doe's aunt encouraged him to use a Ouija board, and many speculated that after her death, the boy attempted to contact his aunt through the Ouija board, an act that may have opened the doors for demons who wished to possess him. The possession started with strange sounds like dripping water where no one could actually place it. Eventually, religious artifacts began to quake and fall off the walls, and unexplained footsteps and scratching noises could be heard around the house. Scratching began to appear on the boy's body, including words that seemed to have been carved into his flesh by unseen claws. The boy spoke in tongues in a gutturally voice and levitated in the air, with his body contorting in pain. His family eventually brought in the Catholic priest, who was determined that the boy was possessed by evil spirits and needed an exorcism. The ritual was performed over 30 times, with the boy injuring the priest many times throughout. When at last the ritual was a success, the entire hospital heard Doe's cries of a bestial anguish and reported a horrific sulfuric odor lingering within the air. At number 1, we have Clara Germina. Probably said her name wrong. The only reason that she is higher than the last one, guys, is due to the fact of how many people have actually witnessed it. Is actually something where I thought this was a huge deal and makes it more reliable as a source. In 1906, Clara Germina was a Christian student at St. Michael's Mission in Natal, South Africa. For some reason, Claire prayed and made a pact with Satan when she was 16 years old, and just days later, Claire was undertaken with strange impulses. She was repulsed by religious artifacts like crucifix. She could speak and understand several languages of which she had no previous knowledge, and she became clairvoyant regarding the thoughts and histories of people around her. Nuns who attended to Claire reported that she produced horrific, terrible, animalistic sounds. She also levitated up to 5 feet in the air. Eventually, 2 priests were brought in to perform an exorcism. Claire tried to strangle one of the priests with his stool, and over 170 people witnessed her levitating as the priest read scripture. That's the reason why this is so high. Over the course of 2 days, the ritual exorcism was successful and was able to drive out the dark spirits from her body. That's why you're ranked at number 1. You've got almost 200 people seeing you levitate as an exorcism is going on, compared to maybe a handful. That bumps you up. Now, I hope you enjoyed sitting through this, and I hope you're not a little spooked out by the fact that maybe demonic possessions are real, maybe they're not, but something's going on. It may just be a bunch of people losing their minds. It may actually be demons possessing them. We don't really know 100% as of right now, but hey, maybe you're like Pope Francis and you already believe the devil exists. Either way, leave your thoughts about the topic this week and the situations chosen down in the comments below, and I will see you soon. Thank you for staying with us to the end. If you enjoyed this journey, hit the like button down below and leave a comment in the comment section. I always consider suggestions for new videos and topics, so do not be shy. Also, do not forget to subscribe in order to stay up to date on all things unexplained. Until then, I hope to see you again next time as we take another trip into the realm of the unknown.